Okay, let's go with another Playout 1 video. This time we're going to be talking about how to set up WebVT users in the system. If you are an administrator to your system, you'll be able to do this, and you do it in our main panel here on the top left-hand corner of the Playout 1 screen. You'll see our little one icon, our one logo. And we're going to go to Settings. We're going to go to the WebVT tab. And then we're going to go to WebVT User Administration. And in here, you'll see all of your current setup, if you've got one, that is. If you haven't, this will all be blank. And we're going to add a new user to our panel here. To do it, we're going to go down to the right where the little plus button is. And now we're going to set up our new web voice tracker. His name is Keith Smith. So here we go. We can give him a username. And now this doesn't have to be Keith Smith or Keith.Smith or whatever. It can just be Keith if you want, or whatever you like. I'm just going to use Keith because I've only got one Keith. The password I'm going to have to set up for Keith. He can change it later, but I need to set him one. I'm going to put in this box to the right his full name. So Keith Smith. And the VT prefix is a very important 3-letter combination just so that we know who he is in the system. So VTK will do. Obviously, if you've got somebody else with a K, you might have to change that around a little bit, whichever way you like, but that will do for me here. And he's enabled, so he'll be able to get into the system straight away when I finish the task. Now, beneath here, we're going to look at what Keith can actually do. By default, he can do anything. He can go and look at any types in the system. He can go and browse through any of the categories in the system. You may want to change that from one person to the next. If you do, all you need to do is click that button there and turn off everything you don't want this person to be able to see and do. I'm going to trust him for a minute and put it all as was. And then beneath here, you'll notice we've got a big grid with lots of ticks in. This is basically all the days of the week on the left-hand side just there, and also all the hours of the day. So say, for example, Keith Smith did our breakfast show Monday to Friday. What I could do is just left-click and hold through all of these boxes first of all and get rid of all the ticks. And then I could draw in the breakfast show for him. So 7 till 10, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Keith has now been ticked, which basically means he can access those hours and he can edit those hours as well. Some people in your company might need to have 24-hour access to everything, so you can leave everything checked. But one or two may just need to be drilled into, or maybe more than one or two, to make sure they know where they're going with things. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see that the Media Finder option here is checked, which means that Keith can go into the Media Finder in WebVT and go look for things. You can actually turn that off if you don't want to do it. If you just want somebody just to be able to voice track or do something specific, you can turn that off. You can also decide here whether Keith can edit audio in the system from home. Let's say we trust him and he can. We can then say, well, do we trust him to delete any audio or add any more audio? If this guy is great, then we can do this. On my stations, I tend to turn that off and leave that there for now, just in case we've got somebody at home that gets a little bit confused and starts deleting items that we don't want them to touch. We can also say whether Keith is able to fire social media posts out via the log, whether he can actually record voice tracks with VT recording, which I want him to be able to do, whether he could go live using Live Mic and the on-air controls. Again, we'll turn that on for him. And finally, whether we trust Keith to be able to go online and edit the whiteboard that we give access to through WebVT. And again, I'm going to say he can. Once I'm happy that's all in place, I hit save. And as you can see, Keith Smith, there we go, is ready to go. We can also see that he hasn't accessed the system yet because we've only just set him up. And that is all you need to do to get somebody, a new voice tracker, into your system.